Hi Year 8. So this feedback is just for the introduction of our new Term 6 topic, which is the word work. And we're just going to do a bit of a recap on adjectives to start with, looking at the masculine and feminine forms. So, to start you off, I gave you a list of adjectives and I wanted to see which ones you could work out. And I told you to use the vocab list that you have for Term 6 to look up any that you didn't know. Now, a lot of these look like the English, so we're going to go with those ones first of all, and I'm going to do those ones in red because those are ones that we can work out. Activo, we can probably guess, is active. It looks very much like the English. Ambicioso, ambitious. So that's when you want to achieve a lot of things. Creativo, we can see, is creative. Dinámico is dynamic. Now we've seen that one before. Entusiasta, enthusiastic. Fuerte, I can't think of an English adjective that looks like that one, so I'm going to leave that one for now. Independiente, independent. Listo, again, I can't think of a describing word. It looks like list, but that's not a describing word. So I'm going to leave that one for now. Motivado, motivated. Organizado, organized. Práctico, practical. So when something is practical, there's two different ways, two different meanings of practical. One is a practical subject, so like when something's hands-on and you make things or create things. The other meaning of practical is that you're logical about something. So it would be practical for you to have a shower after exercise rather than have a shower before exercise. Yeah? Sereno. There is a word in English that this looks like, but I'm not sure if you'll know that one, so we're going to come back to that in a second. Sociable, exactly the same in English. Sociable. And trabajador, it doesn't look like the English, but we've seen this one before. Hopefully you remember it. It's hard-working. So if you look at those, you probably were able to work out the majority without looking them up. I'm just going to go into blue for the ones that we weren't sure of. Fuerte, you may have needed to use your vocab list to look up, and that is strong. So see if you can think of a link to help you remember that one. Listo means clever. So obviously you could say inteligente for intelligent. Listo is just another way to say intelligent or clever. Sereno, now the word that this looks like is serene, which means calm or quiet. So that's our adjectives. Obviously we can see that some of them have got O's on the end. We've got one with an A on the end, a couple with E's on the end, and one with an R on the end. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at what happens when these change from masculine into feminine, and with the plurals as well. So this is something that we looked at. This is task 3 on your week 1 work. We looked at this in the very first term of Spanish. So when a describing word ends in O for a masculine, so for a masculine noun, so either a boy or a noun that's él. In the feminine form, if we're describing it, it goes to an A. Okay, so if I'm describing my dad, I would use O on the end of the word, and if I'm describing my mum, I would use A on the end of the word. Okay, so that O changes. When it ends in an E, like inteligente, for example, or sociable that we've just seen, that one doesn't change. Okay, so I'll just put a note there, no change. When it's an E, it just changes stays as an E. When it ends in an A in the masculine form, like entusiasta, it stays as an A in the feminine form. Some of you thought it might go to an O. That's not the way it works. If it starts as an A, it stays as an A. And when our word ends in an R, like hablador, which we saw in the first term, chatty, or trabajador, hardworking, we add an A. So we don't get rid of that R, we keep the R, but we put an A on the end as well. Okay, and then singular to plural, if it ends in a vowel, which is A, E, I, O, U, when it's in the plural form, we just need to add an S. That's what we do in English. 1 chair, 2 chairs. 1 computer, 2 computers. 1 teacher, 2 teachers. 1 flag, 2 flags. Okay, just add an S as normal. If it ends in a consonant, so that's all of the letters that aren't A, E, I, O, U. So we've got words like hardworking, yeah, trabajador. If I'm saying the teachers or the students are hardworking, I need to add ES, okay? Because we can't just have the S come directly after the R. That doesn't work in Spanish. That S can only go on the end of a vowel, okay? So those are our changes. What we're going to try and do now, final thing for this video, is fill in these sentences with the correct form. Now the shine here was to work out who the different people are, so I'm going to do that at the same time. The example here that I've given you, mis hermanas, now that's my sisters. So I've told you that we need the word motivated, and I've given you a bit of a clue here that we need the feminine plural form because we're talking about sisters. So for motivated, we've got A-S on the end. A, because it's feminine, and then we added an S to make it plural. Mi tia, that's my auntie. Now we know that that's feminine because it's got an A on the end there. We need the feminine singular form of intelligent. Now the word for intelligent is inteligente. We could say listo if we wanted to say clever, so I'm going to do it with both of those, but we need the feminine form. For inteligente, it stays the same because that E, remember from above, that E does not change from masculine to feminine. If we want to use listo, we have to change it to lista because my auntie is a girl. Okay. Mis sobrinos. Now I'm not sure if you've seen this word before. This one is my nephews. And we need masculine plural because it's more than one nephew. And we've got the word strong. So the word for strong is fuerte. If you're looking these up whilst you're doing it, that's absolutely fine. Now we've got more than one nephew, so I need to put an S on the end. Mi abuelo is my granddad or my grandfather. Is, so we need masculine singular, and we're saying enthusiastic. Now if we look back to our previous page, the word for enthusiastic has an A on the end, even in the masculine. So that's the word that we're going to use here. We don't change that to an O. Which looks a bit weird for us, but that's an exception to the rule. Mi profesora, my teacher. Now we know that it's a feminine teacher because we've got an A on the end there. We want to say she's creative. So creativo is the word for creative. But she is a girl, so not creativo, but creativa. I've put this in English by accident. Soy should be for number 6, I am. And we want the word independent. Now this will depend if you are a boy or a girl. But for the word independent in Spanish, it ends in an E, so there's no change either way. Independiente. Okay, independiente. That E will be there if you're a boy or a girl. Mis primos, my cousins are. Now this, we've actually got an error on the page here. I've told you that you need feminine plural. So what this should be is primas. Okay, now that's my fault, I apologise for that. This is my cousins. We've said we want feminine plural because we've got feminine cousins. So sociable, sociable. But we've got more than one cousin, so we need an S on the end there. Mi mejor amigo. Now we know that mi amigo is my friend. Mi mejor amigo is my best friend. And we know that we need masculine singular because he's got an O on the end. It's a male friend. So active, activo. Mis hermanos, my brothers, are, and we want hardworking masculine plural. So the word for hardworking is trabajador. And I've got more than one brother, but I can't just put an S on the end here. because when it ends in an R or any consonant, we have to add ES. And then mis padres son, my parents are ambitious. Now I use the masculine because when we've got a boy and a girl, or a man and a woman, we have to use the masculine form. So we use ambicioso, which is the word for ambitious, but we've got more than one parent. We need masculine plural, so I need to add an S there. Okay, hopefully that makes sense, and that's a good reminder of masculine and feminine and singular and plural adjectives for you so that you can use that correctly in the future.